Season's greetings, boys and gits, and welcome to Dread Wargaming's Christmas special. Now then, believe it or not, Christmas is a time for giving and receiving, for caring and for sharing, for getting drunk and sharing stories. So that's my intention with this episode. I'm going to have a few drinks and I'm going to ramble on about a few things, including channel news, what I'll be doing in this new year. I've actually got some exclusive Ork community news. I've got something to reveal to you guys. I have my favourite model of all time coming up at the end of the show. I'll show you what that is. I have a few bits and bobs to show you from my Dreadlock holiday, a few things I've picked up along the way, because England is a brilliant place for model supplies, bits and bobs like that. So without further ado, let's Christmas party it. I'll get a drink. Asphalt in a tub. So it's a diorama effect stuff, so I think it's going to need obviously some extra painting and a few pigments and stuff to liven it up, but that was very expensive. It's a tenner for that little pot, but I think it'd be useful. As was this, the cracking effects, dark and dry, AK Interactive. I hadn't seen that. I just picked it up because they had it, I wouldn't have necessarily picked it out on a website. It's not usually the sorts, but they were the only ones of those that they had there. So I took them. I've got baubles everywhere. Right, so another thing I got. Micro Sol and Micro Set. These are the only thing you need really when it comes to your decals. I've almost run out of both of these actually because I've actually knocked them over a few times. These are, I would say, probably the best on the market for applying your decals. So they're well worth a look, and they're only a couple of quid each. This seemed to work for me anyway, better than any of the other brands out there. So there's that. On top of there, I've got some surface primer in a German red brown. I've got some washes, some Vallejo washes. I also got some burnt jet engine pigments. That'd be good for the old exhausts on all of those buggies and the mega trap scrap jet and all that sort of stuff. So got some soot, exhaust, some white spirits, exhaust wash as well by AK. So like there's two exhausty things that I thought might be useful. We've also got a surface primer in German dark yellow, which is basically a green. US olive drab by Vallejo. Another surface primer by Vallejo, it's earth green, which I was thinking orc skin. Interior green, again I was thinking orc skin. And then last but not least, Game Ink sepia, because I use that all the time and I think I've almost run out, I'm not sure. It's always good to get it when you see it, pick it up. So that's the products that I got from the model shop. Whilst on my Dreadlock holiday, I've also hooked up with an old friend, somebody who hasn't been in the modelling side of things for about 10 years, but some of you guys from the Ork community will remember him well because he was a legend. And in fact, he was someone that I met through Dawar Forum back when it used to be cool. There was a whole bunch of amazing creators on there, and Cruiser was one of my all-time favourites. And I would quite often post on a lot of his work, and while I was posting mine, he'd give a little bit of support and very good advice and a bit of humour. I think anyone that remembers Cruiser might remember his sense of humour. He was a bit of a grumpy git. But anyway, I once posted on the forum that I was moving home. This is when I lived in the UK, this is many, many moons ago. And I said that, look, I'm moving house and I'm moving to the arse end of London, basically, or basically down in Kent, really. It's actually the bottom end of London, sort of North Kent. It's called Gravesend. Lovely name. It's something to do with the plague and the Black Death, and when people's bodies were being buried outside of the city of London, that's where the graves came to an end, at Gravesend. But anyway, I told this chap, I said, Cruiser, well, I didn't tell Cruiser actually, I told the community. I said, hey community, I am moving. And Cruiser jumped up and said, I live there, it's not so bad. I said, yeah, of course you do, mate. He said, I do. So we actually arranged to meet for a beer, and I thought I was just being played along really. I went along to a pub expecting that he just Googled what the local pub was and he was going to laugh about the fact he'd seen someone down the pub sitting there for no reason. But lo and behold, when I walked in the pub, this little short fella with a little bad attitude come walking up to me. "You must be." I said, "Yeah." So we shook hands and said hello, blah, blah. We become very good friends. And years went by. Now this guy taught me how to plastic card, how to model, because before I met him, I'll be honest, I was middling at best. So he really introduced me to plastic card skills. I had a very limited amount of plastic card and rod when I first met him, very little. Didn't really know what to do with it, and this guy really showed me. So I owe most of my skills to this guy. So I was really glad to come and see him after, I think it's been about 4 or 6 years since I last saw him. So I went to catch up. And I also went to go and offer him some money for his Ork models. The one model in particular, and this is the model that I was alluding to at the beginning of the video. It's my favourite model of all time. I've never seen an Ork model that I desired so badly. If this was on the shelf, I think everybody would own one. Lucky for me, there's only one, and I have it because I finally got hold of it. It was the best Christmas present I could have hoped for, to be honest with you. So he agreed to sell it to me. So, without further ado, I'll show you what we got. So, this incredible model comes housed in this box. As you can see, there's some glyphs across the door here. And the door does open, it's magnetic. Got a ramp in here, you've got some details in there, you've got some big doors in there. So it goes further in as such. But just take a moment to just admire. This is a box designed just to carry the model. Okay? Look at all the glyphs, all the details, little windows, you know, mech spanner. And then on the top, we've got an Ork skull. Oh, don't want to lose the door. It's actually magnetic, but the magnet's not too strong. So this is the box. We lift off the lid of the box, and incredibly, it's been designed so that this top platform, when I don't have it filled with the components, is actually a platform that you can make this into a scenery piece and have it on your table. That's incredible. Right, so that's just the box. So, once the top tray has been removed, inside of the box, we've got several magnets holding this. I might as well reveal it is a dread. It's a mega dread. The mega dread is held inside the box. So, let's remove some of these components. Oh, he's sticky. Inside the box is this base here with the stonework has actually been broken underfoot because those two magnets are where the feet of the body are going to stand, like this. Okay, now this is him in his raw format. I mean, you can see he's got the traditional sort of can shape but bulkier. And his big stompy feet, you know, fantastic. Now, on this arm, he comes loaded with a gun already. There's a gun there, but you can alter this gun up as you can with this arm here. As you can see, there's a magnet space here, but there's also a magnet space here and here, and on the two shoulder pads. So, starting with the shoulder pads, we have a lobber, which probably is better off on this side. We also have a rocket launcher with fantastic details on it, glyphs and stuff. That can go on that shoulder pad. So now he's a bit armed up. Or maybe we don't want to take rockets. Maybe we want an arm. So this arm here has several different options for it. We have the classic lifter dropper. Look at that. Isn't that fantastic? The level of detail on this is unreal. It's so detailed. I used to actually own it. Well, I say own. I used to look after this model for Cruiser. I used to actually keep it in my display cabinet because he didn't have a display cabinet. I had a lovely one. So he liked to make all my models look really naff by having his fantastic unpainted model sat right next to them. You've got this gun weapon. I can go on the top there. Some kind of big Gatler or something like that. It can go several ways, I expect. You've got this big zappy gun as well. Very intrusive. And I think there's one more weapon for the top there. maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay, right, we'll leave the lifter dropper on there. Boom. Okay, so now let's focus on this arm here. So, we can leave the gun as it is, or we can jazz it up a bit and make it look a little bit more blasty. There we are. Or, we can turn it into a Scorcher. Or, I mean, that's one type of Scorcher. We can go with another type of Scorcher if we prefer the look. You know, we're spoilt for choice with this model. This is what I'm getting at. We've got a las cannon end. See? For these pads here, look, I've got a little searchlight that I can stick on there, which is kind of the boring option. Or, if you want to get a bit jazzy, we've got a shooter. That one's on there. We've got a shooter for this side. Now I'm probably going to make a few more sponsors for there because there's only actually 3 and I can think of a few more things that would be useful. But as for this gun here, let's not forget harpoon, so that's close combat weapon. And we also have this big saw to make it into a big saw arm, so it's another close combat weapon. So then you're going, well, what are you going to put on this arm? Well, how about a shield? How does that look? Pretty neat. Or, of course, you have to have a claw. I've never seen such a cool claw for a dread. Look at that. That is awesomely big, right? But it's not actually the best close combat weapon for this bad boy because my favourite would be this axe. I think this is amazing. I love the spring on it. Look at that. That is awesome. So this is, in my opinion, the best Ork model to ever have been created. I absolutely adore it. All the little details, you know, like the little grot on the top there. It's unbelievable. It's so pretty. So, my Christmas is complete. I am a very happy chappy indeed. So, there you go. My favourite model of all time. What is yours? I'd like to know. Share it with me in the comments below. So whilst I spent a little bit of time with Cruiser there and I had a look at and bought the Mega Dread, there was a few other bits, of course, that he had left over from the old days that he wanted to make me aware of and point out to me. Now, back in the days when he used to teach me how to plastic art well, what he used to do was give me a half-finished model. So he would take a rhino, take it apart, build a box around it, sort of put it back together, and then go, right, do something with that. So he'd give me a raw model, a bit like what I'm about to show you. So I've got a few more raw models from him to work on. So here's one. It's the largest one of the others. It's a tank, of course. It's very, very, very flat, very unfinished, as you can see, and very dusty also, because he's really good at cleaning his Cruiser. So, yeah, there's a few issues with it. In the weaponry, basically, is not magnetic, and I do much prefer to have magnetic weaponry. This zap gun will probably have to go. But other than that, it's fantastic. I'm going to do something special with that. The turret is removable, thankfully, so I can swap that around with others, because I do like to keep all my turrets that they can be swapped around as much as possible. But yeah, lovely double tracked vehicle. See, look, that's a double use of the Imperial tracks and some nice interesting wheels in there too. Yeah, something to play with, something to get on with. Another cool tank that he gave me to get on with is this little bad boy. Very speedy looking and almost like a mole with a big flamer on the top, or on the front, big burner on the front. Looks very zippy actually to me though, very fast and really gets in there, doesn't it? So yeah, that's number 2. Number 3 is this little bad boy. It's a bit of a Lehman Russ style. Some nice exhaust on the back. He's actually used a Second World War tank there, model tank. And fused it together with some bits of, like I say, Lehman Russ tracks, aren't they? But yeah, I like that. It's got a sort of a very Second World War feel with these sponsors at the side being narrowed down and this gun at the front being low. It has a Second World War look to it to me. I like it though. Very cool. 2 finished models that he gave me, which will get painted along with the other grot tanks I make, although I'll probably have to do a little bit of modification to these just in order to make them fit with the other bases and the other styles I'm doing. But I love these. These are using the old Scorcher track and a piece from a killer can. So here's the one with a piece from the killer can at the front, body of a killer can. You remember these tracks from the old Scorcher track, and the fuel bit there is also from the Scorcher track. Now this has got a magnetic turret, thankfully, so I can actually swap this out with the rest of mine. So that's cool, like that one. Great little pose too. It's got a little grot on the side with a little Scorcher. It's pretty. And then there's also this little Scorcher wagon, and this one's going up at a little bit of an angle. See, it's going up a bit of a cliff side. He's a Scorcher. He can't be altered, and I wouldn't want to try cutting that out and damaging it really. It's fine as a Scorcher. I'm happy with it as it is. It's pretty as it is. So that one's staying as it is. As it is. Right, last but not least, and very special. Right, last but not least, and very special as it is this one lost wheel that came off the vehicle, but that happens. It's this bad boy. Now, it's very difficult for you guys to see because it's ever so dusty and it's only undercoated. Well, actually, I say it's only undercoated. You might just make out there some checks, and there's some checks. So, believe it or not, this is painted just covered in dust. And this is a completely scratch-built battle wagon, Speed Freak style. So, look at the driver there, if you can see him. When I say driver, guy popping out the top there. It's covered in grots too, and there's a big juicy engine with a nice wheelie bar on the back there. I love it. So, this was actually a gift, believe it or not, because I hadn't seen him for so long. I went buying a bunch of his other models and he gave me this as a gift. He knows I love Speed Freaks, so I think he'd been teasing me with this model for years before as well, going, oh, you know, you want it, you want it. But he finally actually gave it to me, so there you go. I think it's absolutely fantastic. It's got such an armoured, tough look. He told me he based it on one of those vehicles from, I think it was Terminator. Was it Terminator? Oh God, I forget movies so bad. It's a movie car. It almost looks like a Batmobile actually, doesn't it? I love it anyway. So that is, well, it's fantastic really, isn't it? Also coming this new year will be my other new series called Breaking the Law. Now that, by law, I mean the 40k law. I don't mean breaking the law and getting in trouble. But I do want to break down some of the fluff around Orks, because some of it is fantastic. A lot of it's fantastic, in fact, but some of it isn't quite fitting. And some of it, I think, perhaps, is just imperial propaganda. Perhaps some of the things that they say about Orks being stupid, for example. I mean, how Orks actually manage to create what they do with the level of intellect that the Imperium would bestow upon them is fairly impossible. And trying to explain it away with, oh, it's just in their genes, it's just, There has to be a level of intellect and understanding beyond that of what the Imperium are willing to accept that the Orks actually have. So, in Breaking the Law, I'm going to put some arguments forward and discuss and ask you questions about how Orks are perhaps misrepresented and what you think, or I think, perhaps they're more like. So that'd be a bit interesting, a bit of fun anyway. I'm going to be filming a Blackreach gameplay video because I've noticed a lot of you were fairly interested in the Blackreach board game, and there doesn't actually seem to be all that very many videos out there about it. So I'm going to actually do a video about Blackreach, playing it with my brother who doesn't play 40k, so it'll be an interesting little twist for him to have a little go at it. Or I'll try a few different friends anyway. Maybe I don't know who I'm going to record it with, to be honest. See who plays best and how it works best. I haven't yet got to grips with it entirely myself, so that's why I haven't yet done that video. I was going to do it over Christmas, but I haven't learned it enough to be able to teach it to other people, so every time I'm trying to play it with somebody, we end up reading the rules. So we'll get there and we'll play it. I just haven't had the time. So, I said I had some exciting news for you guys in the Ork community. I do, I wasn't lying. So, as I said, I had a meeting there with the green one, and he introduced me to, these are only betas, these are not actually the alpha copies. These are just the test copies, but the details on these grots are absolutely fantastic. So this chap here is like a little pilot. I don't think you can see him very well. There. There's this guy here carrying or shouldering the shell. Then there's this chap here with his cigar smoking, see? Carrying a few bits and bobs. And then there's, last but not least, no, there's two more, sorry. There's this little chap here with a really cool eye. I really like it. The details on them are fantastic for betas. Like there's nothing to be cleaned off even. There we are. And the fantastic thing about the green as well is that all of this resin, none of it needs cleaning. It doesn't use mold release sprays and things like that. So the resin's clean. A fantastic bomb squig. Another one-eyed squig. Like that one. And a multiple-eyed squig. Scary. Very grim. The detailing is fantastic. These are coming soon, guys. These are just testers that he gave me to have a little look at and to share with you guys, just to wet your whistle a little bit. But like I say, there is going to be an episode of third-party focus on the green coming very soon. So look for that. So, from me, at Dread Wargaming, a very happy Christmas to you all. Merry Christmas!